Hello and welcome back to Wario Land 3. This is Wario Enchanted, and this is one I was actually sort of putting off for a reason you'll see towards the end of the video, because this part has my least favourite boss in the entire game. It's so annoying. But for now, let's just explore this new level, the Fidget Sea, which of course has black water, so we can't see what we're doing down there. It's more just there to catch us if we fall off the slippery platforms, and of course the platforms are slippery. It works in a fairly interesting way, because as you slide, you don't slide off the platform, you just kind of slide an extra square. So it's quite controllable actually, and I quite like that. It's a lot less annoying than a lot of ice-based platforming in these kind of games can be. I like to think it's because Wario is just generally heavier than Mario, so it just naturally has more friction. And of course we have a lot of these ice bears as well. But of course we have our key, so let's find the chest now, shall we? This is a fairly heavily edited part because this is where the puzzles start to get quite tricky as well. To the extent that in this part I actually did have to look up one aspect, and it was very annoying to have to do that. Yeah, let's be careful not to get knocked off, but at least now we're at this, well, we would have been at a point where we could have used that little shortcut there, like use that as a bit of a checkpoint. But because I'm an idiot and fell off the left side, we can't do that. We have to go all the way back round again. So I'm just killing all these blue bears so far. But there we go. Yeah, this is a level you do not want to get caught out by those blue bears in, because they can send you quite far back. I do like that you don't really very effectively like slide right off. It's a very nice level for that. And of course we get a new power up now. This little spiked hat. Maybe able to guess what it does, but let's have a proper look, shall we? Yep, now jumping breaks blocks above us. And that includes the solid blocks, which is very nice. So now we have two things we can do, Town in Chaos and Desert Ruins. So we'll go to Desert Ruins first, because I remember what Town in Chaos means. I'm a little bit scared of it. So let's skip over it for now and go to the Desert Ruins. But of course you have to be there at night. So of course I had to go in and come back out again to make it nightfall. Because you can't really do anything on the other direction, because the other direction doesn't really give us anything we can work with the spike hat. And I also quite like that when the sand's gone, you can actually go all the way around here now, down here. It's a very satisfying little path to follow. Especially when we have all these little upgrades. Now we can actually get a couple of these little coins. Not really much point doing it, but I kind of just like doing it when I can. Even if I can't get all 8 of them in a single level, it's fun to get the ones you can get, even if it doesn't actually do anything yet. Also, I thought this was really great music in general, it's quite fun. Let's just punish the donut chef first, shall we? I partially did this because I wasn't sure if I'd need to come in this room for anything, because often in this level the chests before been spanning across 2 rooms, so I figured I'd just check just in case to make sure I didn't miss anything stupid. But no, we only have the red key here. So let's go into this last door and actually see what we can now do. Can't go down there yet, we haven't got the right kind of power up to get down the heavy blocks, but we can get up them. But being quite careful with this caterpillar. And doing that will hurt me. But these guys are quite interesting because they have quite a gruesome death animation. They completely split you in half, and I quite like that. It's a very I quite like that some of Wario's deaths are actually quite violent, even if he can't permanently die, he just bounces back from it. It's such a weird sort of a thing to have to do to him. Not have to, but like for them to do to him. I also quite like as well that they actually made us immune to the caterpillar as well when we got splattered. I like that the caterpillars now just kind of going to go to a meeting later on and just kind of like, oh, I got covered in Wario. It was not a fun time. It's a little group therapy thing. Of course, we have one of these doors, and we know what that means. This chest is some way behind one of these games. So let's play the game, fail a bunch, and use a save state for the first time in this entire thing, because these got really annoying on this one, and I lost a lot of coins, because this time they're actually worth 30 coins for each attempt at playing, so you run out of coins very quickly. But this is a much easier one, which is always nice. Yeah, a mild editing screw up there, sorry about that, but it don't really happen very often, so I'm letting it slide. Just need to get him in there. There we go. I do kind of like that it doesn't show you where the block actually is, you have to kind of figure that out. But in this case, again, that kind of hurt me. Because we can only break one of these blocks, and it's the one that gives us the green key. But we can't get to the green chest from here, we have to find another route. And this is where I had a lot of trouble. You see, this is actually the trick. But I didn't know this at the time. So I actually had to look up what you actually needed to do here, which is very annoying when you realise what I actually did have to do. But this is why I heavily edited this video, so we'll see what I had to do to get down there. Here we are. So this guy needs to turn us to the yarn Wario, because there's actually a hidden yarn block at the bottom, right there. You'd never know that it needed to be a yarn block, because it's not got the little yarn symbol on it, it's just kind of there. It's not obvious, like, it's got a similar pattern to other breakable blocks, but it's still kind of hard to realise that's what you need to do. Or maybe I'm just an idiot, but that was like the one puzzle solution I had to actually look up. Yeah, the constant switching of aspect ratio is just because of the mouse going over the emulator window and things like that. It's just what's causing that. But now it's time to face my fears and do something I really did not want to have to do. It's time for the Town in Chaos boss fight. And this guy is a pain. But first you have to find them. So the red key is actually one we've seen before, and that's the key we're looking for in this particular level. It's in this little window over there, so let's go get it. You see, we remember this room, but now we can actually do something in here. You see, this is what we need, this red key. We remember these blocks, we need to make them go up. Once we get past these stupid pink blobs, which I never work out the timing on, I always just brute force them because I hate these guys. They're so annoying to deal with. Just my least favourite obstacle probably, because they're just in the way, and unlike other obstacles, you don't really have much you can do about that. You may think it would be to come in here and use this little button, but as we remember last time, this button is not actually our solution, because remember we tried that before and we're just stuck here. So all we actually have to do is find a new button. But this time, we can. So once I'm done playing with this little fire guy, we'll find that second button. And get that key. So let's just undo that so we can get back out again. We just need to find another switch to hit in a different location that will allow us to actually get up to that chest. Key, I mean. I once tried to open the key with the chest, all I did was make a huge mess. And yeah, this area is still kind of weird, I don't really know what this is quite yet. We might get something we can bash a little bit later with, but right now, it's just kind of a weird little pit. But it feels like there should be something there, though. It's the kind of little pit that is very suspicious. Yeah, because part of the problem with these kind of very freeform style games, like this kind of level design, is it can be quite hard to remember where you haven't been yet, or where certain obstacles were that you can now deal with. And yeah, these pink things are the bane of my existence. They are just the absolute worst. There's another door. And in this door, there is something we can do. And yeah, I got quite lucky there, because if I didn't... This way at least the bear's facing towards that thing, so it can't knock me off the building entirely. This guy, however, must be more careful. So this is the actual room we have to be in. Well, not this particular room, but this part of the building, anyway. I do quite like the design of the towns and so in this area as well. They're all like massive skyscrapers and like, well, not skyscrapers, but like apartment buildings. It's very like, because in Mario, a lot of the little towns, like there's little small buildings and things like that, little adobe huts or mushroom houses. But in Wario's world, it's all just really big. And yeah, there's the button we need to get to, but we can't as Zombie Wario. But we found where we need to be. But yeah, because as Mario, you get much simpler, kind of like very villagey vibes. But Wario has like skyscrapers and things like that. He essentially has the City Kingdom, whatever it was called, from the from Odyssey before Mario got it. And unlike Mario, he probably knows what it's for. I thought it was quite amusing with Odyssey. It was quite interesting. I'm mentioning it because I probably never actually do that particular game because it's big. Like something I quite like with it is that it seems as though the Mushroom Kingdom don't actually really understand the point of large buildings. Because they just kind of mention like, oh, it seems as though people in this area really like big buildings. Like they're just kind of assuming that it's just like anything else in a Mario situation where like, oh, there's a food area because a lot of people here are chefs, you know, like you think things just exist because people like them there. But unlike those kind of like themed levels, a city has an actual function because people live and work there. It's just the Mushroom Kingdom don't seem to understand that. I thought that was quite an interesting thing, but here is the Nightmare, the boss, against this weird soccer-playing rabbit. And yeah, we may be wondering where the ball is. We are the ball, or the rabbit's the ball. But it is so hard if you get, like, lag behind on this particular thing. Because, of course, the rabbit's much taller than you, so you have to time it perfectly to land on top of it. Also, there's not really much point in winning right now because we haven't got the red key yet. but like, this was me showing off how a first try at this boss normally goes, and how every try went when I was a kid. It was next to impossible, especially on a tiny Game Boy screen. You can't put yourself in the goal though. You have to kind of like get kicked into the goal, which is quite nice actually. There's also another fun thing I quite like, where when you're the soccer ball, if you actually fall into the turtle's hands, he will throw you against the far wall, and he will unsoccer ball you in that way. Because again, you can't put yourself in the goal. He won't let you. Which is not very much point anyway, but yeah. You get the idea of this boss, it's just not what I'm going to beat right now. It's quite a funny idea, but like, it's just such a huge pain to actually deal with. We'll discuss it more when I actually beat the boss later on in the video. Because of course, I'm lagging so far behind it's impossible for me to win at this point. Well, not impossible, but it would be a huge pain. And I haven't quite figured it out either, so I'm just going to kind of let him... Because also I kind of want to show what it does when he kicks you out as well. Because some bosses have unique animations for that, and that's quite fun. But yeah, I just can't get this bunny into the goal. So here you go, this is just me kind of letting myself lose. I quite like this little animation as well. The turtle just bounces you all the way up. It's quite a funny little animation, that. Because of course you're a soccer ball at the time. But yeah, there's not really much point to that without the keys. Let's go get the key first, shall we? Because we got the thing up. So now we can actually get there. And fair enough, this is our shortcut anyway. This part's always annoying though, because I hate how these reset their position when you leave the room. It's fair enough for like Game Boy and stuff, but it's just annoying mechanically to have to do it every time. But of course, then it is a punishment, so... And yeah, I messed up. But either way, it's time to get the key. Which is right here. We know where it is. We couldn't get it before, but now we're on the right side of the bars. You little thing. It's always annoying when you get caught on by one of those things when it's not in any way useful. Because it just wastes time. But here we go, get the key. And now it's time to beat up that rabbit. Well, at least beat him at soccer anyway. And yeah, I use save states here because it's just a pain. Because I expected to have a lot more trouble against this rabbit than I did. So let's deal with him properly, shall we? Yes. Let the turtle get out of this problem. So what I quite like with this, the idea of this fight though, yeah, that's the trick, is you have to get the right angle to get him over the turtle in a way that he can't catch it. But I quite like with the idea of this fight though, and of course it's also just a really small gap to get him into, you have to be very accurate. What I quite like with this fight is that in most bosses that have ads, normally the ads are just another form of damage for you. It's very unusual that the boss has an ad that's supporting them in a way that's not attacking you directly. And of course that's kind of the trick to this fight, is kind of like using the physics of the bunny against him. It's kind of a neat idea though to have the whole thing where like the ad's actually there to help the rabbits do a very specific thing, as opposed to helping him defeat you. He's just there as the goalie, and he's just there to kind of like help you not win by helping him cheat, by always catching him when he goes in, and always ducking into his shell, or just not saving when you go in. Well yeah, it is quite tricky to aim this rabbit because of how hectic this whole fight is, but clearly I've kind of figured out the rhythm. It's quite fun just bouncing the rabbit around as a ball form anyway. I quite like that he kind of like flies with his ears as the ball as well, to try and kind of control his descent. That's quite fun. So it really shows that he's got used to the whole idea of being a ball. Like this is his life essentially. This is something he's done multiple times, probably with other opponents as well. so he's learned to cope. Also, the music in this area kind of feels like it's getting faster and faster, even though it isn't. It's kind of a amusing little audio illusion. But yeah, this is annoying because of how small the gap is as well. But like in most boss fights in these kind of games, the only real problem is avoiding the boss's attacks and actually hitting them. But in this case, the part where you actually hit them is the part that's the tricky part, because the characters actually, their little helper characters actually stopping you do that part. Which, outside of like a few bosses that have like a shield generating item somewhere in the arena or something like that, quite an unusual way of dealing with it. It's kind of an interesting idea as well. To have them not be someone that's there to attack you but to support them. But now we've defeated them. So now we have to ride the turtle up. And finally we get this red chest. And defeat one of the most annoying bosses in this entire game. And we get the second music box for our troubles. Now, quite different music boxes have different designs as well. The first was a standard little horizontal cylinder. This is a couple of dancing people in a snow globe. It also has a slightly different melody, and it plays us into the bank of the Wild River and the tidal coast. So we'll see those levels later. I'll see you next time. Have a nice day. Goodbye. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and check out my Patreon as well. Speaking of, thank you to James Rossi for supporting me on Patreon.